Welcome to this week's Bitcoin Stats Show, our weekly video podcast giving you all the latest news, views, and stories around the world of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. This is a very special show for two reasons, right? One is that we have a guest on the show this week, Duncan Shaw, someone who lives very much outside of the cryptocurrency community.
That's right.
And secondly, because this week, myself, Will Francis, and Sam Billingham, and Ashley Ford, who's not present on the show, been working hard to release the desktop version of the Bitcoin Stats app. Boom. Which is on screen at the moment, and you can download at bitcoinstats.co.uk. It shows real-time Bitcoin price information from a variety of exchanges, a real-time ticker in your toolbar, and a social dashboard which shows you all the chatter and themes around Bitcoin in real time on social. So it's a very valuable tool.
It's one of a few desktop apps.
It is.
So many.
But it's quite, it has its own USPs and it's beautifully designed.
It is.
So we will swiftly move on to this week's news. So Bitcoin 2014, currently in Amsterdam. Big conference, 1,100 people in attendance, and it's run by the Bitcoin Foundation on an annual basis, this conference. Overstock CEO is there.
Yeah, he's doing the big keynote. I don't know if that surprises you guys, but I wouldn't have thought that he'd be doing the keynote, although some of the stuff that's come back that it's been about is that he really wants to drive Bitcoin, and
he's really into it.
Yeah, people thought that when he was kind of did it for publicity, like many of the other people who talk about accepting Bitcoin, but now it's coming more to light that he's actually really passionate about it, and he wants to push it forward, and apparently they've got something under wraps that they want to announce from Overstock about Bitcoin.
Cool.
I'm not sure what that could be.
I mean, for everyone and Duncan's benefit, this is great because we've got someone on the show who might represent a lot of the audience, but or maybe not. Overstock are an American retail site. They sell everything: curtains, TVs. It's kind of like Argos.
And you pay for everything with Bitcoin?
No, you can. It's been going for years.
That's a good question.
Yeah, it is good. You can pay. It's been going for years. You pay with just dollars, but they started accepting Bitcoin a while ago, but then their big story. Was it about a month ago we reported that they'd passed the $1 million mark in terms of Bitcoin transactions.
Yeah. Well,
and actually the average transaction was quite high in relation to people using dollars. So yeah, I mean the guy who runs Overstock is clearly well into the idea of retail with Bitcoin.
Yeah, Bitcoin in general as well. Bit of a libertarian.
Yeah. Which is cool, from someone who's a business owner and essentially a capitalist. It's quite nice. What's this about BitPay closing a funding round?
Yeah.
Biggest ever funding round for Bitcoin. What's BitPay for Duncan's benefit?
BitPay is a merchant service that allows you, if you run a website,
right.
So you sell in, little figures on your website, and rather than using something like PayPal or going through the hassle of setting up real credit card payments for yourself, you can go to BitPay and with their help you accept Bitcoin on your website.
Okay.
And so it's it's really easy. You grab some code off their site, etc. Any website can accept Bitcoin as payment, and they can either keep all their money in Bitcoin or they can get it transferred straight away to dollars. So to you it can be exactly the same. It just allows you to offer another service to your customers.
Sure.
But what's massively validated their place in the market is that they've closed a round of funding of $30 million. So they've got investors that put $30 million into their business to grow it.
And I think that's reasonably big, even for any company, A rounds.
Oh yeah, no, it is. I mean, it seems it's usually a few million, but 30 is a lot for an A round of funding. So yeah, good luck to BitPay. That's all we can say, and just wish we'd had the idea first.
Godspeed.
I mean, they've been going a few years now.
How long?
We've got to be at least 2-3 years, since Bitcoin, probably since 2011, I think.
Okay.
It's Bitcoin pretty small time.
Fair play.
Beer review.
Do you know what? I think now's the perfect time for our weekly craft beer review, where we take some of the great beers sent to us by people like deskbeers.com. They don't pay us to say that, it's just good. And yeah, we've got a selection. These are from the past weeks, actually.
Yeah,
Got 3 different weeks worth.
3 different weeks, yeah. You've got one from a few weeks ago. What's that you got, Dunk?
it's Hell's Unfiltered Lager from Camden Town Brewery.
Is it from Camden Town? Or is it from Camden, USA?
I'm just reading it.
New Jersey?
What's the verdict?
Uses American hops. So that's why it's peppered with massively capitalist
Branding.
iconography.
Yeah.
It's quite nice as lagers go. I'm not a big beer drinker,
Wow.
which is why I'm drinking lager.
As a designer, Duncan, you've got these 3 bottles.
Oh, do you want
of
me to
beer here,
design review them?
Yeah, design. We do
design review.
review the
Are you
labels.
indirectly saying that there's actually a reason I should be on this show?
Yeah.
Okay.
What would you say? So we've got the.
Well, do you want to review the taste first? I would give this
Yeah.
6 out of 10 in terms of.
We've
a
never
lager.
marked
never really
that,
done that,
No,
have
but
we?
that's good. Taste 6
Oh
out
no,
of
we
10.
should mark them out as some sort of cryptocurrency.
So 6 out of 10, basically.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Wow, how does it taste? Like a
It
good
tastes
lager?
like a good lager. It's
What would you compare it to? What's it better than? What's it worse than?
it's better than Foster's, but then so is Genocide, and I don't know. It's not as nice as a good summery beer.
Right, I know what you mean.
You know what I mean? A good
Yeah.
summery bottled beer. It's got that kind of. It's a bit too weighty. I couldn't drink too much of this. I just feel like awful.
Sam?
Oh, I've got one of my favourite beers here, actually.
Oh,
Pale Fire, Pressure Drop, solid pale ale. Not a lot to say really. Tastes like a pale ale. Apparently, I read on the little leaflet thing we get today that it actually varies. They use like varied hops between batches, so it can actually taste different.
wow.
Yeah, I don't know. Not very good at describing it. I'm pretty sure I've seen it stronger before, but maybe that's me imagining it. So this is pretty smooth, not too strong. Tasty beer.
Brilliant. It's quite hard to communicate the taste of an ale.
Yeah.
I've just realised that myself.
This is Soundwave IPA from Siren Craft Brew in Berkshire, and it's very nice. It's a West Coast IPA. It is very hoppy. It's a strong flavoured one. Again, it's not. You couldn't drink more than 2 bottles of that. It's strong.
Hard.
If you really like your very hoppy craft IPA, but it is lovely, and it's got this is a common theme. I seem to say this every week, but it's got like a sort of a citrus.
Citrus tones.
Do you know what I mean? Is that a thing with these? Because it's just that as the craft sort of falls off, as the hoppiness falls off. You've got that little
Jumped off and you got
just
citrus.
drops off through
Citrus
citrus
flick.
down a little a little citrus flick at the end. It's very nice.
Little ravine from citrus.
A little, yeah. Anyway, so that's Soundwave IPA.
Design wise,
Can I have a look at the design of that?
It's cool. It's actually a bespoke illustration on that, as there is on all of them.
It's like a drowning woman.
She's drowning in hoppy
She's
citrus.
drowning. There is actually little.
Having a
bits.
great time.
See?
There you go,
There's
yeah.
bits of citrus fruit on the actual drawing.
There's seed all over
That's
the face.
confirmed. Mate, it's a family show.
Yeah.
I'd go with that one actually.
Is that one's on?
I had a good look at this while you were talking about that.
That's beautiful, actually. I love their whole
Don't you
bit
think
Hockney.
It's a bit wanky. Yeah, I was going to say it's Hockney's Pool, but it looks like an album cover, which I just disagree with on principle. It looks like a really shit indie band's album cover.
And I like the texture of those ones.
Yeah.
It's like,
you know you've got a craft beer when you hold one of these in your hand.
yeah,
Right.
it's kind of like very fine salmon.
This
thing.
loses, by the way. This is terrible. It's the most uninspired design of
It is a
anything in
bit,
my
isn't
life.
it?
Yeah, I'm
And
not
some
a fan
people
of them.
love that.
Not a fan of them Camden beers, to be honest.
No, it's just.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah,
Wow.
Yeah, you suck.
If you're watching, leave us a harsh racist comment,
I mean, yeah,
because that's what people do on YouTube and they get vitriolic.
they do, don't they?
Sue us in Bitcoin.
So China, I've started blocking a lot of popular Bitcoin sites, blockchain, Coinbase, even Chinese exchanges. Why is that?
Trying to keep control of the currency. Like, I think that anything to do with Bitcoin is going to like loosen their grip over the Chinese population because it'll allow them to have more control themselves.
Do they see it as a serious threat to their own home currency, do you think? I mean, they must do.
I think they must do.
It's weird because, that shows how seriously they're taking it.
I mean, how does that actually affect something like their economy? Like hypothetically, it probably doesn't.
It does because ultimately, if you're a government, you make money out of taxing transactions, property transactions, products, goods, services. That all goes out the window if people are then buying things with Bitcoin.
Exactly.
So that's a real problem. That's what they're really scared of.
And they've really really strict laws in China as well about like transferring money in and out of the country.
Yes.
Whereas Bitcoin allows you to do that freely. And that's something they can't really regulate with Bitcoin. Even if they chose and like found a way to regulate Bitcoin like tax wise, they can't really regulate it across borders. It makes it really difficult for them.
It's true. And we all know that they like to keep their digital borders as well as their physical borders intact, with the way they block the internet, in various ways.
So yeah, if you didn't know, China block a lot of stuff on the internet for when you try and view sites in China. Like they've got a firewall that goes through every ISP, or maybe it's even like before like ISP connection. So there's no way around it.
Indeed.
What, for example, do they block?
Facebook, Twitter, Google, YouTube.
Things. The internet.
Lots of things that are seen as Western influence that could somehow lead to discord, anarchy, but then they have their own versions of all those sites, and there's one company that owns most of them as well.
That's weird.
Okay. Coinbase are giving free Bitcoins for students who sign up with a .edu email. A .edu email. So what kind of email is that?
That's
Coinbase.
No, that's like anyone at university.
At universities.
Yeah,
right. Yeah.
The same way like Facebook started with anyone like.
Oh yeah, of course. You sign up to Coinbase with the .edu email, and you get $10 worth of Bitcoin. It took me a minute to work it out, so yeah.
I imagine you can probably just add that if you've already got an account as well and get your $10 free. I'm guessing. Let's hope so.
We need to make a fake .edu domain.
Well, like occasionally when they do stuff like that, they let you do it with the UK version as well, which is .ac.uk.
Yeah.
But it depends. They're like a full-on US company, so like,
worth trying. The final story, Circle are trying to bring Bitcoin to the masses by also giving $10 worth of Bitcoin to all new Circle members. What's Circle?
Circle is kind of a competitor to Coinbase.
Yeah.
They were like, they got funding, I think, end of last year. And people were like, cool, but what are you going to do? And it was just like, oh, we're going to do Bitcoin services. It's like, okay, great. And then nothing's happened since then. And they've kind of come out of the shadows a little bit now, and they're basically going to do a service just like Coinbase.
Yeah.
There's no fees for like depositing, trading, etc., etc.
Coinbase is a place where you can buy and trade Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Yeah, Coinbase works.
I remember that.
Just like PayPal.
Yeah.
Like you can send Bitcoin like via email. So yeah, Circle are kind of going to do the same thing, and they've just had a chunk, like 2 big chunks of money in Series A and B funding. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do. But if you think that anybody who signs up, I think it's in like beta type thing at the moment. So I guess they could turn off this offer at any point.
So anybody with any email signs up, they get $10 worth of Bitcoin. You should sign up. That could be your entry into the Bitcoin world.
Yeah, but then I would have this thing that I didn't know what to do with.
But you'd have to buy drugs on the Silk Road with it, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I guess.
What else do you do with Bitcoin?
Yeah, well, that is a good point. What does one do with Bitcoin?
What do you do with yours, Bitcoin?
I tell you what I've done with my
Collect them.
Bitcoin. I collect them.
Like stamps, aren't they?
Yeah, I've got a book of
They're
Bitcoin.
crypto stamps that don't actually exist.
Yeah, no, all I've done is let mine accrue and sometimes lose value, and I've traded my Bitcoin for other cryptocurrencies to try and ride waves of appreciation, but unfortunately I've also rode some waves of depreciation, as has been documented on the show.
What was the name of that one that lost
Aurora coin.
That lost you 7,000?
Bitcoin, it lost you 7,000.
Not quite 7,000 Bitcoin, no. I'd be a bit more annoyed about it. No, I didn't lose a lot. But, I mean, it's small gains, you know, you're working with sort of currencies that are worth 0.01 of a penny, but you're buying like 1 million of them and seeing if you can just, you know.
You know, it's just not for me. I don't even know what I'm on this show.
It's not for Duncan. He's out, he signed out.
Give me real money, you know what I mean?
So you don't think Bitcoin's real money? What do you consider, what needs to happen to be real money?
How does it become real?
You have to be able to fold it.
Okay. Okay, we can't.
But I went into Pret earlier.
I'm only kidding.
Hang on a minute.
I totally agree that it's legitimate currency.
Hang on. No, I'm joking. Right.
I'm just kidding.
He's back on board.
I just don't understand it too good.
I think that's the same position as a lot of people.
Yeah.
They don't understand it. They don't really care because they don't understand it. Same with a lot of other things as well. It's like you don't need to understand it because, like, it's not made its way to a point where if you don't know it, you're behind. Like, Bitcoin's still like, if you know about it, you're probably ahead of the curve. When things get to a point that if you don't know about them, you're behind, people tend to pick it up because they don't want to be left behind.
So that's all we've got time for this week on the Bitcoin Stats Show. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for watching. Remember to subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you next week for more the Bitcoin Stats Show. Have a great week.